to what happened when I was in art school, when I first came in there. And I found myself, you don't have to come tomorrow because I'm giving away some of this. Is it tomorrow? Yes. Mark Twain said that one of the most, so waiting to be whipped is one of the most disappointing and uninteresting term of a boy's life. I always feel that way when I'm here before an audience. Where was I? Close encounters. Anyway. Well, did I miss something? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Somebody keep coming. What was it?
Art school.
Art school. Ah, that's it. That was boy. That was so important to me. That was art school, right? I was like 17, and I was in art school. I was a high school dropout. My father taught all of the children to read when he was 3 because he didn't want to read to us. So we were heavily read, but you know, I read Uncle Wiggily, and then I ran into a book in our library called Uncle Vanya, and I thought that must be a sequel to Uncle Wiggily. I was 6 or 7 years old, and it didn't work. The guy didn't even know how to spell. Alexander, he spelled with an X or something. So I went to my father and complained. And he pointed out that it was by the Russians. I didn't care about anything on the Russians. I could understand it, but I didn't understand it. So we read over lots and lots of things. Anyway, by the time I got to high school, I would say that a junior college, I mean a college level in terms of English reading in America. And so to this day, I believe that the best way to learn to be an animator is to read, because of course, as you can think, and to envisage. P.L. Travers, who wrote Mary Poppins, said that she didn't consider her ability. She felt she had no ability to write a story. She said, "I put down facts. The person that reads it is the storyteller. They have to imagine it. They have to see Mary Poppins coming down through the air. Writing it doesn't mean anything. Mary Poppins floats down holding on to the road. So the poetry comes out of the reader. And so that's why I think there's an enormous responsibility on us in the field that we're on, is to not, as the factories in the 1940s and 50s and 60s ignored the fact that it doesn't cost you anything to make beautiful backgrounds. So that like these things, you see them only for a few minutes, but your imagination carries on. Yeah, I know more about it. In a book, you have to imagine it all. Here, you stimulate them to think in visual terms. I'm getting back to art school. So, fortunately, the school we went to, the Chenard Art Institute, now called Cal Arts, was a small school, but it was a fine arts school. They didn't teach animation because there wasn't any such thing really except the things that came out of New York. And Colonel He's a Liar, that was the name of one of the cartoons. But at that time, the fact that it moved at all was so wonderful, but it never occurred to me that I could go into animation because I didn't, like everything else, I thought it happened. I didn't think anybody made it happen. A lot of difference. Like a Jew's heart. I know there are Jew's hearts, but the idea of a Jew's heart factory is beyond me. Or toothbrushes. Can you imagine a toothbrush factory? It doesn't do anything but toothbrushes. I'm getting around to the point. It's slow, but anyway. So, we all came in there and put up our boards, and got out our little. So, part of this is in my book. If you haven't read the book, well, you're better off. So this wonderful old man got up, and he was terribly old. He must have been at least 50. He was big and round, and he wore sweaters under his coat, an old Irish coat. And it turned out he was the best. Sergeant Don Graham is probably the best linear artist I've ever seen. He got up and he walked across and looked at it. He took the little cigarette that he had, and he rolled his own. And they usually caught his whiskers on fire. His whiskers indeed were kind of charred on one side. He just regarded the cigarette, and we didn't call his attention. I saw a girl with a red fro. throw water in there because everything was flaming. He was still talking. So many glasses. We said, every one of you birds has 100,000 bad drawings in you. The sooner you get rid of it, the better it will be for everyone. Harakiri. Well, some of the guys well left. I didn't leave because I was on my second 100,000 already. So. But he's absolutely right. I believe that for every good drawing anybody does that can call themselves an artist at all, or not call themselves an artist, I don't believe you can do that, but can call themselves a professional in a graphic field, must be willing to spend 10 drawings for every drawing he uses. Be willing to, sometimes it works right the first time, but seldom. So I found that as I became a director, an animator and so on, but particularly as a director, because I had come up with a drawing that I knew was designed to get the animators, to give them some idea of what I was trying to express in the drawings. I didn't want them my own. I tried desperately to keep them from using my drawings, but I wanted them to get the attitude. When the coyote's falling, the coyote is more afraid of somebody seeing him fall than he is falling. He goes to the science, he plays in this picture before I hit. Right? And we do so. He'd say thanks. I have signs. So the floor would be strewn. There'd be 300 or 400 drawings you could use, but on the floor would be 2,000 drawings you couldn't use. Because you keep trying over and over again. And then my beloved wife, I'd like to have you meet my beloved wife. This is Marion. She likes applause. You can give her a little more. Several things that she has introduced to me, and she keeps finding things. See, one of the reasons that we are so happy together, and have been together for 15, almost over 15, that we've been legitimate for 10, is that it's our second time around, both of us, and each of us raised a family. And so when we met, when we were making How the Grinch Stole Christmas, she was a writer and critic for the TV Guide, and so she came over to interview Dr. Seuss, and Betty Lamb, of all things, that's her name, said that there would be another person along, and Marion said she didn't want any other persons. she didn't want to talk to Dr. Seuss. So we met at luncheon, and the room wasn't very crowded, but by God, it worked. Things happened that surprised me, and I couldn't even talk to Dr. Seuss. So 15 years later, I still went, So I leave the room for a few minutes, you'll know what the problem is. So we kept, so then I would bring when I had these, at least to my reasonable success, then I wrote all the dialogue, all the finished dialogue I write on the drawings, because I want certain post call for certain dialogue. So then, and then I would ignore it. I just give the whole bunch of paper of drawings to the secretary, who would then just write off the dialogue script. We never had such a thing as a script as such. I just had the storyboard. And so she would take that off, and then I would call Mel Blanc, who had not seen the picture at that time. The remarkable thing about Mel Blanc and June Foray, who did most of our female voices, was that they were for such fast studies. They had nothing to do with the story, and they never wrote any lines. Believe me, I tell you, don't ever let an actor write anything for you. Don't let him go when you're recording. He'll be much more interested in advancing his own ego than he will in advancing yours. And so even Mel Blanc, brilliant as he was, that he could catch on, and I'd go through the entire story with him. But I'd written the stuff so that I knew the cadence of every line in that picture. If it was Daffy Duck during the Duck Rabbit Duck thing or something like that, I'd say, this is the line I want. This is, Mel, here's what Daffy is thinking about at that time. He says,